the music because I'm bad. Okay. Here we go.
Alright, well, hey everyone, I'm ToadsWoot. I will be doing the Minish Cap any percent run today.
So,
And I have two lovely commentators with me.
Good evening. This is Tampa here.
And I'm a Blue Infinity 22.
so
The one and only.
quick update on the donation incentive. Tompa and Squeevo actually fought for the final name. And sadly, Tompa lost. So
What? Okay.
the final donation, or the final name is Joel. Shoutouts to Squeevo, because that's Squeevo's first son.
Everything in caps, right?
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
in caps. Joel in
Okay.
caps.
Joel, Skype.
Yeah, that's the only name I know.
So I guess we're good to go, right?
Alright, we'll just start the time with the soft reset instead of starting the actual fight because it's gonna be easier for me.
Okay, so just give a countdown and I will start.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. Right, so as you might notice, I'm starting the game off a soft reset, which is usually not included in the timing, but a soft reset resets the RNG, and I'm gonna need some rupees early on, and the soft reset gives us some nice blue rupees early. That's why the soft reset is there.
There won't be too much R&D manipulation in this game though, but this one is probably pretty much the only one.
There's also the. Do you still do the Kinstone one in Castor Wild?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Kinstone Manip and Dark Knight Manipulation is also there.
Yeah. Dude, that Kinstone
Hopefully.
manipulation is so nice. It was like a year in the making.
Yeah, it
There's-
took me so long.
There were so many changes that we did for there's a few Kinstone manipulations or like a few Kinstones we absolutely need to do a skip, like a major skip later. But there was always one Kinstone that we could not like find a way to get consistently. Like 3 of the 4 that we need, you can find in treasure chests relatively easily, but one of them we just could not find a way to get. So it went through like 3 different ways of getting it. There's like a brioche manipulation where you would get it from a piece of bread.
Which is
And
really slow, by the way, don't do that one.
It's the best manipulation that we've ever had in the Minish
Yeah,
Cap
it's
history.
good.
No,
I
I
approve.
disagree.
The only thing that might be debatably better is a red Kinstone manipulation they did for the Dark Nut. That was pretty good. And then we would have a manipulation in one of the dungeons to get it from a Dark Nut, or not a Dark Nut, Armos.
Armos, yeah.
Yeah, an Armos. And now we get it from slashing our sword in the Castor Wilds in the swamp. It's really cool. So coming up here is where we're gonna do the rupee manipulation. So we roll twice in that room to get the right RNG, and then as long as we're fast enough, we can get several blue rupees here.
So this pod will always have a blue rupee now. And I'm gonna roll 4 times into wall this time instead of 3 times, just to make it a little bit safer for the marathon. Usually I do 3 rolls and then pick up the pod, roll down before the pod breaks to change RNG 1 more time before the pod breaks, but it's a little bit precise and I fail it in some attempts, so it's a little bit safer.
Nice.
Yeah. The funny thing with this game is that like most of the rupees, if not all of the rupees that we need, are early in the game. So
Yeah.
all the rupees that you get throughout the game just won't matter. It's all early game that you need them.
Later on in the game they give you so many options to get a lot of rupees, but early on you're basically always short on them. So the manipulation is quite nice.
Yeah, the rupee route has changed quite a bit. There's just like not even like where you spend them, but just how you get them.
And you can see it's the Japanese version because of faster text and a couple of gameplay changes that makes it faster. There's some glitches that only work in the Japanese version, as well as the European for some of them. But
Yeah, the Japanese version just somehow ends up being the best one for speedrunning, not only because of the text speed. The text speed is quite important. I missed a roll there. But there's just so many small things that other versions have that are worse for speedruns that the Japanese is overall just a lot faster than the other versions. Glitches aside.
This game is the king on like text speed and text mashing for like just how much time and you can save or lose. Like making sure you set, because like there's like what, like if you really want to play around with it, like 12 different like speeds you can have for your text, because you can set the text options before you even start the game, and then if you hold B you can make the text go even faster than that.
Yeah.
So,
And then you
just,
can use the D-pad to bypass text. You don't need to use A or B. You can spam anything.
Yeah, it's very easy to mash text in this game. You just hold B, and well, in my case, I spin the control stick because I'm playing on a Wii U with the Wii U Pro controller. I could use the D-pad, but control stick is a lot nicer to just spin.
Yeah, so like basically almost any button except for like select and R or L will advance the text box, including directional inputs. So you can just spin the control stick and it'll just keep putting in directional inputs to, you know, continue with the text boxes. Yes, I agree, chat. D-pad is the best way to play the game. It's a 2D game. It's meant for the D-pad. I agree.
D-pad for the win, yes.
Absolutely. Imagine using a control
I
stick
would
as a 2D
disagree.
game. Like, imagine using a control stick for a 2D game.
Been using the control stick for more than 4 years. Hello.
Oh,
Or
happy
wasted
birthday!
years, yeah.
And I'll never
By
stop.
the way, good job on not soft locking here.
Yeah, of course. There's a soft lock there when you talk to the mayor. If you use the shield on a specific frame or roll on a specific frame before the cutscene starts. But of course I made sure that that doesn't happen this time.
Yeah, that is the Happy Mask Salesman laugh.
So right now I'm just getting the normal cutscenes done at the beginning to get the sword. And of course Zelda's turned into stone, we completely ignored that, but I mean Zelda's always in trouble.
So, now that we got the sword from the mayor, we're gonna go on a trip to find the Minish to upgrade the sword into the Force Sword and save the world.
A lot of it in the old Zelda game is more or less that, oh, the world is in peril, let's send a teenager to fix it for us.
At least in this game,
Basically.
they try to justify it. Where only the children can see the Minish, so they have to actually unironically send a child to save the world. It's like, yeah, we can't actually see them. Which they actually do play around with a bit, where after the Cave of Flames, there's a giant door that spawns inside the castle that no one can actually see except for you. Which is kind of funny. Like, they actually address it, like, yeah, do you realize there's a giant door in your castle? And they'll be like, I don't see anything. Alright, that's cool.
So as you might notice already, rolling is the fastest movement in this game, as in most Zelda games. And you'll probably enjoy the sounds that Link makes when he rolls. When people watch this for the first time, it's usually the first thing they notice.
Yeah, you can also tell, if you want to be very critical of ToadsWoot's movement, the R button at the top right, the longer you see the text there, the less precise he did his rolls. So the goal is to not even see the text at all.
Well, the text has to be visible for one frame, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. For some rooms it doesn't matter too much if you delay some rolls or not, because it doesn't allow you to roll an additional time or something like that. So a lot of the time it's not too important, but generally you want to pay a little bit of attention to that.
Rolling is the fastest movement in the game. ToadsWoot. Yeah, the Pegasus boots
Okay,
are
it's
kinda...
actually the boots, but the boots are only faster if you have to roll more than 3 times.
Well, it's actually the minecart.
Actually, the mine. Darn it!
Oh, goodness. We all lost.
I was gonna say the mine cart, and then Tampa bounced in.
Yeah. Best part of the game.
Yeah, so with these Minish portals, there's 4 different types, but only 3 of them have a cutscene, and you have to watch each cutscene once before you can skip them from then on. So you get to at least see the beautiful.
Lily Escape incoming.
Oh yeah, here we go. First cycle. Here we go. He's practiced his rolls.
It is actually possible to get a first cycle here, but no RTA runner has ever gotten it before. So...
I've heard B-Boy's gotten it before.
Come on, Blue. He
The legends.
He just used the 11th frame.
But the test does it, of course, but I can't remember how tight it was.
It's very tight. You need a lot of frame perfect rolls.
Yeah, there was a guy who was I was watching trying to do it, and I think he had to like re-record it like 35 times just to get it or something like that. And it's just he's really struggled trying to get it. Gosh, my sisters are screaming.
So right now we don't understand the Minish quite yet, so we need to eat this fruit, and now we can suddenly understand the language. Let's go.
Makes great sense.
Yeah, that guy that ToadsWoot talked to, he's the mayor, and he tells you, because he can actually speak highly, and that you need to get this jabbernut.
But to be honest, who isn't the mayor?
I think you just passed by him.
There he is.
Standing there on the... Look, there's the mayor talking to the mayor.
Okay, enough memes.
Wait, was that his eyes wide open and I never noticed before?
Uh-oh.
I've never noticed. I never noticed that the mayor's
I'm missing
eyes...
something.
Alright, we're approaching the first dungeon. The first two dungeons don't have any glitches in them, so it's mostly just movement and avoiding enemies and stuff like that. I'm getting a little bit of bad RNG here, and I messed it up. Okay. All good.
Yeah, so you might have noticed that, I don't know if it's completely unique to Minish Cap, but at the start of a roll, you actually have invincibility frames, so you're able to roll through quite a lot of stuff. Like, even like some things that you probably shouldn't be able to, like you can actually roll through giant bosses and then just get like damage boost to the other side of them. So we abuse that an awful lot to like roll through fire, roll through explosions, roll through enemies.
Yeah. But even so, it is quite difficult to completely avoid all the enemies. They will walk in your way.
This dungeon's infamous for it.
Yeah, this dungeon in particular. This one and the next one are very dependent on enemy RNG.
But sometimes it's really impressive to see some of the ways you can use the roll. Like especially in the Matterpillar fight, where sometimes you'll try, if you're good enough, you can just roll through the entire boss to try to get to a 2 cycle if he's not working with you. It's really nice.
In this room, sometimes you don't have to kill the pesto, depending on the pattern he takes, or it takes. So, as you can see, there are just some patterns that will lose you time and you cannot really do anything about it. Even if they don't directly walk in your way, because you don't want to take damage, it's just better to kill them.
A lot of this game is just movement and responding to like how the game just gives you situations.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool with that. Just the more experience you have with the game, the better you are at it, and you just naturally go faster each time.
In the next room you can actually see very well how much we abuse the roll invincibility frames. Although the slug on the top left is not in a very nice position, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, rolling into Eslo. There are a couple of places where Eslo starts talking to you, but if you roll into those conversations, it takes longer for it to start for some reason. So sometimes it's faster to just walk the last path.
Oh, that was a nice fight. So we can kill the first guy there fairly quickly if we just roll up and slash it 3 times against the wall. And the other two are RNG based. If they walk towards you, it's very nice because If they walk towards you, you slash them, they will continue walking towards you. Whereas when they walk away from you and you slash them, they will continue to walk away. And it will lose quite some time if they do that. So here's the Matter Pillar fight. Let's hope I do not get a 3 cycle. And I'm gonna get a 3 cycle because I slashed into the wrong direction. So something we haven't mentioned is that I'm playing on a Wii U VC. And the controls on Wii U VC, it was still a 2 cycle, on Wii U VC are a lot more sensitive. So if I pull the control stick to the right and then let go of it, there will most likely be an input to the left for like 1 frame or something, and it will put you off, as you could see there. Sometimes it just changes Link's direction and you can't do much about it. It's a little bit annoying, but whoops. That was not the case on the GBA or on Game Boy Player. It's something it's actually something that a lot of speedrunners complain about, not only for this game.
Reminder that that's not possible if you use the D-pad.
Come on.
Oh, lily pad movement is so gross. I hate it so much.
Yeah, the lily pad movement is not very fun, especially not if the pestos are in your way. That one pesto actually trolled me a little bit and cancelled one of my Gustra uses, but it's all fine.
Yeah, with the lily pad, it's momentum based, so there's a lot of creative movements, and some runners will just count their gusts, so that way.
I always count them, yeah.
The Wii version has less lag and loading time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wii U is a little bit more than 20 seconds faster due to faster savings.
Oh, it's the same as main game, yeah.
Yeah, the saves too. Do you do the do you do any of the save strats like for Dark Hyrule Castle?
No, that one is like, what is it? It's like 10 frames faster or something.
Alright,
Didn't even despawn the pot.
While saving is more than 20 seconds faster, in every single run I've done so far, I've lost some time to the sensitive controls, so I don't want to say you will save all the time you can from playing on this version, because it has some downsides.
Don't despawn the mayor. It's a good idea. But the mayor's on our head, how can we despawn him?
Nice sword slash there for R&D manipulation.
Alright, so upcoming fight is the first boss fight. Not very difficult, a little bit RNG dependent, can lose some time, can gain some time. On the first 2 phases you want, or you can get either in between 5 or 9 hits on him. After 5 hits he will always, or 4 hits I believe, I'm not sure, 4 or 5 hits he will trigger the next cycle, but sometimes he will just take 9 hits before he stands up again, so it's just some wasted time.
And then on the last cycle he can choose to bounce around or he can just charge at you, which is also some time lost.
Also got the jump there, which is a little bit slower. First one was 7, it's average so far. There's usually no real threat of dying here, you can even get a heart without losing time, so...
Yeah, like
that said, I still died to this boss before, so... Alright, 7 and 9, that's a bit worse than average, but we'll work with it. So I got the 5 jump, which is the bad RNG. You can actually skip a jump. I didn't get it. It's very precise, it seems. I only get it... I don't get it very often.
Yeah, and it's even more of like a troll because you'll see him react as if you did, and then he just jumps anyway. And you're just like, alright, that's cool.
Yeah,
I appreciate
that also happens a lot.
And then he just looks at you with that face. He's like, yeah, you may have beaten me, but who's the real winner here? It's us, but, you know, he still asks that.
Nice, nice.
So we don't actually, like, I guess technically it might be faster to skip some of these heart containers, but we don't do that because you can take so much damage, and there's so much like damage boosting that we will try to take advantage of that it's not worth skipping any of the heart containers.
Yeah, you will lose a lot more time trying to not get damaged than picking up the heart piece or heart container.
And in the case of like the second to last dungeon, the heart container is also a health refill because it doesn't actually like refill your health unless you grab it. So you would go into like the final dungeon with like 2 hearts at some point, and so you just grab it for the health refill.
The Taz actually got one of the heart containers because it was the fastest way to get a refill compared to getting heart drops.
So now we have the bombs, which is a very unique item in the game in that it's not only portable damage, but it has 3 different timers you can abuse, where it changes how fast. Oh, dude, you do the damage boost. That's so cool.
Nice.
I thought
It's fast.
I thought I was just like being a memer doing that. All right. So the bomb has 3 different timers based on what you do with it. Whether you just place it down and you just let it explode on its own. If you pick it up immediately and throw it, it like cuts a second off of it for the timer. And then there's a roll lift where if you roll like the exact frame after you place the bomb, it'll explode way faster than normal. So we're going to be trying to do that as many times as we can.
I also don't do the Kingstone tutorial fusion here because it's just faster to save and quit instead.
Oh, the Wii U save. Oh my gosh.
So fast.
Oh, look at that.
There's also an RNG manipulation here for the postman. I only get it like 50% of the time, but the postman might be in my way after I get the sword, the spin attack rather, which he probably will, so we'll see what that looks like. He will usually be in your way 3 to 4 times during a run. Oh, no, I got it, okay. So usually he walks down the middle path there, but with the Minip he doesn't, and lets me walk up there freely. Alright, I actually got a roll lift, so the bomb's gonna explode really fast compared to just picking it up and waiting.
The commentary spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
Nice though.
Oh yeah, so you can see that how fast that bomb exploded from what I was talking about earlier.
So the 20 rupees we needed for this bottle here, and we absolutely need this bottle for water and for spring water, and a ferry later actually, so bottles are very useful. We don't get more than one though, because every other bottle takes forever to get.
Yeah, they do take quite a while to get. Like feeding the mayor's dog, fusing with the mayor to get a chest that spawns, things like that, and it's just.
And the Gorons.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
the Gorons.
The Gorons is... You don't even think about that one.
Because that was
takes
super
way
slow.
too long.
That's the whole adventure.
Yeah.
They grow with you.
It's true.
100% is the best category for this game though.
Absolutely.
Thank
Apart
you.
from Pyrod.
Tell you a story about the Krenel spring water. Dang, it's been...
There's one runner.
Oh, is there?
Well, I just got the green spring water, and you need it once in the run. And there's one specific runner that might be commentating with us that dropped it just before he actually needed it, and dropping it is really slow because you have to go all the way back to get it again.
I didn't drop it, I poured it out.
It's whatever. Same thing. I almost didn't pick up the bomb there because I was laughing.
Oh my gosh, that was like...
So it's actually, as you can see, it's actually faster to equip the Guster and the spring water right here because it saves in an equip, which is why this is something that can happen.
In before it does.
Please no. It loses so much time.
So like a common thing is we equip the Gust Jar on B since that's the button you're going to be mashing and holding, so...
Yeah.
And so the reason why I poured it out is because I put the spring water on B, and then I switched it, but then in my mind I still had it on the wrong button and pressed it. And then
You don't have to explain your mistakes.
I need to justify it.
There is some manipulation to get all the figurines without any luck involvement, but it still takes a very long time.
For the 100% speedrun, we have an RNG manipulation for the figurines, but they still take more than half an hour, so...
Yeah, it's also really scary when you're new at it, because you just constantly got to keep checking, and you're afraid, because like, if you press any button, you ruin it, and you have to restart the whole thing. It's so scary.
So on this screen, we can actually do a little bit of a skip, because the way the Gust Jar is programmed is well favorable to us. It actually ignores layers, so we can just get up this mountain very easily. And I got a bomb drop, nice. I don't need it. I need bomb drops in Hundo, but I never get them in Hundo. The P-heads here can be real trolls if they want to. It looks like they're gonna behave this time. They can be in front of the cave entrance here and just mess you up so much. You can take so much damage here.
Yeah, so a lot of the times we'll place the bomb ahead of time and just carry it so that we can just throw the bomb at them and that'll actually do damage to kill them.
Yeah.
So it's a good little mitigation even though it's a few frames slower.
I have 2.5 hearts left, so I don't actually need to get a fairy here. If I had less hearts, I would get a safety refill here, because these boulders are RNG and it can die here. It has happened.
They do
a few
half
times.
a heart of damage, and it is
Also scary. And then the water, oh yeah.
Please RNG.
That one was out to get me.
Oh! That one like did a complete like dive.
Alright, on this screen the Tektite and the P-head are usually nice enough and don't interrupt me while I pull this mushroom. Sometimes they can be a little bit annoying. It only happens very rarely though that they actually hit you.
Yeah, usually
So
if you don't miss
it looks
any
very
like,
scary.
rolls.
Yeah.
Usually if you don't miss any rolls and immediately go for the mushroom, they're pretty good to you, but if you miss it, the Tektite usually has enough time to jump on you. So at the start of that screen, ToadsWoot walked slowly to the right and to talk to Ezlo. The reason for that is that if you roll into an Ezlo text, it'll actually take a few extra seconds for Ezlo to actually react. So it's faster there to just walk into it.
Yeah, it goes through the whole rolling animation a second time. At least the timer does. Before it starts the Ezlo cutscene, for whatever reason. So even though there's quite some distance before that Ezlo text triggers, it's still faster to just walk into it.
There's quite a number of things that are in this game that they only use like one off and then never again in runs. Like it used to be a meme before we got a major skip that we'll see later that you only fused kinstones like twice, like in 2 situations, even though it's like a major mechanic. But now we have like 7 or something like that.
Yeah, it used to be 4 times and now it's 8, right? I believe so. Yeah, sounds good.
Feels good, man.
So here it's faster to just push the pod down the pit and then use the Gust Jar to get over there. Not something you might immediately think of.
And then that one Helmasaur there is very likely to troll you, where he'll just get inhaled by your pot. So you do a little shimmy side to side to avoid that. Ooh, yeah, the lantern is a really fun item in this game. Are you going to do the lantern for the Wizrobes or the sword?
The sword and bombs.
Okay. So that means the lantern gets used, yeah, like twice.
I'm probably only gonna use it once. I'll probably go safe strat for Bowser wins.
I love safety. Safety is like my favorite thing in the world.
It's good for
Especially-
marathons.
Especially in Minish Cap. Make sure you don't show them the dual octo strats. Those are my favorite. I'm really good at those. Immortalized in GDQ.
Alright, so we give the smith the broken sword here so that he fixes it. But he won't be finished until after we do the next dungeon. Should I get hearts? I'll just get some. Doesn't hurt. So you can actually break those 2 pots at once by standing in a specific position, which saves a little bit of time if you need 2 hearts. It's not much slower than just getting 1 because you can just break both at once.
This room is a lot of fun because it's one that you can react to differently based on how you see the bob-ombs treating you. And then there you also saw that he walked down for a little bit, then rolled upwards to avoid rolling into a Nesla text. So that he could just walk into it. Because if you just roll immediately, you'll roll into it and it'll be slow. So.
You know what? I never actually noticed that it's an exotext there. Oh my goodness.
This dude is so fast that Eslo was just like, hey dude, I've been trying to talk to you, I don't know if you noticed.
I always noticed the cutscene, but never knew that it was a Nesla text. Oh, I already hit it. So I hit the bomb on the right there just because he might be trolling us later. So it's just a little bit safer to get rid of it early. Oh. The Helmbuster room can be a little bit spicy.
Did you know? Oh, never mind. That was a pretty
This
good
one can be a little bit spicy depending on the RNG you
Sometimes
get.
they don't like to run into your Gust Jar, and it can just that room can either be like the best time of your life or just the most obnoxious room that you've had to experience in the game.
Basically. This dungeon, or saving time in this dungeon or losing time, depends a lot on enemy RNG, more so than the first one.
For the Minish movement, it's actually faster to walk diagonally than to roll, unlike when you're fully grown, where it's faster to do like roll to the left and roll down for like a diagonal movement. So
It
that's why you
depends.
kind of see mix and match them when he's in Minish form to to walk diagonally and then do the roll.
Roll lift the pot. Roll lift the pot.
Does he
I
know how to
can't do the
kitty
roller.
swag? He does not do the kitty swag.
I'm sorry.
Rip. He didn't even try. He didn't even try.
I'm not gonna set up the pod roll lift.
But it saves time.
But you can also roll lift the pods, not just bombs. It's a lot more precise though. So we went all the way over here just for 1 key.
Why did Blue leave for the other room?
Oh, I don't know. Bye, Blue.
We got disconnected. Okay.
We need the key for order to activate the switch, or rather to just hit it. If there was a way to hit the switch without the key, we would save a lot of time, but
Yeah.
it's one
You
of
need to
those
click
skips
into the
that
wall by
we...
2 pixels.
Yeah, it's one of those skips we really want, but it's just not happening. So upcoming is the mini boss fight. Still by, I can get it.
Welcome back, Blue.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, this mini boss is epic. It's really
Yes.
like well done, yeah. Oh, he got it. All right, cool. So it's usually faster than you get to actually explain that fight.
There used to be a bunch of different strats for that fight. We used to use 2 bombs actually, which looks really cool, but it turns out that just using spin attacks is a lot faster.
And here you got the cane of, whatever.
The Cane of Pachi, the Cane of Pasai, the Cane of...
Pasai.
Pack-eye. Pack-eye.
Or as Flames Olsen likes to say, the Cane of Flipping stuff.
I got hit. There's actually an early cycle you can do for the green traps, but no RTA runner really does it.
I was gonna say that.
Oh, sorry.
God, I love that room because when it goes well, it's really cool to watch because it seems like you just barely make it and you're just like, yeah, I'm pretty great. And then like you can mess it up and just take like 8 hearts of damage immediately because you just keep trying to get it. Cane of Posada, that's a good one. I like that one. This room is very random.
Yeah, this took a long way to task as well. I hate this room.
Oh, wow. I never even thought about just going below it and throwing it up. Normally I would just walk into the hole and then just flip out.
This room used to be a lot of runners' room that was hated the most back in like 2014-15, but we've gotten used to it so much, to all the patterns, that nowadays it's not really a big deal anymore. It's kind of funny.
This right here is the first kinstone of the 4 that we have to get for the skip later on.
Pretty fast to get, so we don't have to manipulate that one.
Yeah. And we're gonna see if Toads here can get a quick early cycle.
I'll get the green rupee text finally.
I mean, you could skip that. You don't have to.
I don't want to be scared of missing the platform cycle.
Let's see if he's gonna do the roll.
I'm not doing the roll.
He didn't do the roll. Quo is probably just shaking his head right now. So here's the is there another place that you get that kinstone, or is that one that you manipulate?
That's the one we manipulate.
Okay, I couldn't remember which one it was. That's sad. I really liked that one because you get to practice your frame perfect rolls to avoid taking damage.
So in this big lava room here, we're gonna get 2 chests, and making the cycle on the platform at the end of the room is a little bit tight. So if I just mess up once, I'm most likely going to miss the cycle. And in case you're wondering, we get both chests here because it's faster to get both chests than to just only get one chest. There is technically the other rupee chest in this dungeon that is faster than this rupee chest, but because we need the kinstone from this chest right here, it's just better to get both chests at once. You still make the same cycle that you would have, or you would be on if you only got one chest. Which also means this kinstone is the only one left that would save time if we found a quick manipulation for it. And you can see the platform cycle is pretty tight.
I feel so good when you make that.
Nice. Don't check the walls, by the way. Don't you dare.
What about the wall?
Nothing.
So there's a quick hit you can do on this guy, which I got. It's a little bit precise because the hitbox is actually kind of deceiving, honestly. Sometimes you feel like you're gonna hit him, but at the end you actually don't, and it just flies past him.
Oh, dude, I see the walls now. You can actually see the boss imprinted in there. That's really cool. I never noticed that before. Yeah, see at the bottom you can actually see the boss imprinted in the walls. That's really cool.
Channel power,
Yeah,
they
on
got
every
to get
wall.
later on.
A small little, a small strategy though is you'll notice he's sat at the bottom during the rocks falling. It allows you way more time to dodge, and then he goes to the top of the screen because it's actually a little faster that he falls down.
How much love are these flames gonna give us today? A little bit of love. So the third cycle, he can either shoot flames for a fairly long time, or he can end pretty quickly. Yeah, I got the bad RNG. It doesn't matter too much. It can be a little bit slower though if he decides to take his time and shoot flames for forever. Also, this is a very long cutscene after you defeat this guy. Link takes forever to start walking.
Look at all the fire everywhere. It just disappears when he leaves. Maybe it's like a part of his soul, and as it departs, so does the fire.
That's really sad.
Link has to wait for the lava to cool down, so he can't walk. Makes sense.
He's just not brave enough.
I think this is like the slowest element get you can do. I think it's like 40 seconds long for how long you have to wait to get the element.
Yeah, after you defeat him, when the explosion starts, it's more than 20 seconds. It's a very long time of just nothingness. So before I go down Mount Cornell again, nice voice crack, I of course get this sword. If I don't get it, I cannot fuse it with the element. It's one of those mistakes that new runners are fairly likely to make.
Yeah, you can't actually continue the game without the sword, so... And if you jump down, you have to climb all the way back up. It's really long and tedious. If you actually, I have a question. If you get out of there and you jump down immediately, can you save and quit and it'll take you to the entrance of the dungeon, or does it take you to the bottom of the mountain?
It should take
you
you
can
to
just
the
use the
bottom.
cane in a way, so...
Yeah. But it should take you to the bottom of the mountain. The dungeon is no save and quit point.
Okay.
But the village is actually, and Ocarina Crypt, or what is it called again? Wind Crypt? Wind something. It's not Crypt. Crest, there we go. Ignore me.
3, 4, 5, 6.
I messed up a bit.
9, 10. Oh, yeah. That was 9.
Because I was talking, wasn't counting.
Yeah, Remy, you can use the
Yeah.
cane to get back up.
Yeah, you can use the cane. It was just a question. I was wondering if like somebody climbs all the way back down and then realizes it, if they could just save and quit and it'll take them to when they exited the dungeon. So I was curious. And there's another Eslo text that he stops rolling and walks into to save a bit of time.
You also have the grip ring, so it's not too bad to climb back up again
Yeah.
if you realize very late. But it's still gonna waste quite some time.
This is that door that I mentioned earlier where only Link can see. Well, and I guess children, if any child wanders into the castle, into the basement. Wow, look at this!
So we're fusing the first two elements now to finally get an interesting sword upgrade, which could have been a lot better. Unfortunately, it's not as interesting as it could be.
Okay,
It lets
so
us
now-
split into two links,
So now we unlock multiplayer.
basically. And there's also a tutorial here for how to do it, kind of. Well, we have to do it once.
And for some reason, it doesn't allow you to charge your sword facing north.
Unfortunately, you can only use the sword when you split links. You can't use any other items, which is why I'm saying it could have been a lot cooler than it actually is. I feel like it has quite some potential, but it's only the sword.
If only they would, like, I don't know, like, make a game that is based around multiple links after this or something, I don't know.
I wish. So let's hope the upcoming Moblin fight is gonna be nice to me.
Oh, that's a cool movement way to do that. I want to do that. For exiting the castle. I always do it differently every time, and I can never find a really good, consistent one.
I love this part when Link runs down here as he's running faster, having the boots. They never does this again in the game. Look how fast it was! Like, it's crazy.
Whoa! Holy cow! The speed!
So the Moblin fight went well. If you mess up a little bit, the Moblins can be really annoying. It's a little bit difficult to hit them because the spears are so large, and they do one full heart of damage if you get hit by them. So a bad fight can sometimes be Very, very annoying.
Yeah, so this part of the game is where the entirety of all the cutscenes in the game are.
Basically.
Other than like the ending and the beginning, that's where all the cutscenes are located. So we just watch 2 cutscenes and then we get to continue playing the game for the rest of the game.
It was somehow possible to get to this area before you can get the Pegasus boots early. But too bad, game is dumb.
Yeah, there are 2 boulders that block us from going here early. And there's just no way around them. Alright, so you can actually read the sign to activate the Boots quest. You don't actually need to enter what is called Cast Your Wilds to activate it, which a lot of people don't know.
It was just a random thing I found out when I made the first task. But it was fun.
So now the Boots side quest starts. First we have to talk to the Minish that are making shoes for this guy. Because he's asleep and we need to wake him up somehow. And the Minish tell us, well, how about you get a mushroom for this guy? Because as we all know...
Are you gonna do the save and quit because you're on Wii U?
Yeah.
Oh yeah! Ooh, strats.
Hello!
And we also change our items to bombs and canes since we're already pausing anyway. Good job.
We're going to skip the book side quest. Skip the bracelet and stuff, right? Toads?
Yeah, we skipped the book side quest now. That's why we
course
were
we do.
doing those. That's why we get those 4 extra kinstones.
Well, I mean, skipping the bracelets, you won't do that.
Oh. We'll
Yeah,
talk about that
cool.
later.
You're right. Toads, you forgot the brioche minute. You forgot to get the kinstone.
No, I didn't.
Can't believe it. And there it's a little faster to just throw the pot in the direction you're going to roll anyway. Just save a bit of time with movement.
This is one of the screens where you can just see how well sometimes the rolls work out. It's really nice movement on the screen.
Can we talk about zebra cakes? I actually don't have any right now, so my sisters, I'm having them clean their room right now.
The mushroom, by the way, is actually what we need the other rupees for. It costs 60 rupees. We have 100. We don't actually, whoops, we don't need more than 60, but because the chest is just faster to get, we get 100 rupees.
Yeah. And at one
And
point
that's-
it was also used for the brioche minute, those extra rupees. But then we found the, but then ToadsWoot found the manipulation in Caster Wild, so now it's just, we just have 40 extra rupees now.
And this is all the rupees we need in the run.
Yep.
And once we defeat the next, or beat the next dungeon, I should say, we can get a lot of rupees very easily. Then we don't need them anymore.
Sister skip.
Alright, and as we all know, mushrooms wake human up.
The spores, man, the spores, they're really bitter. They go up his nose, make him sneeze.
And the boots are already finished, so you don't have to wait for them. Ooh, no post-ventral. Spoilers. Ooh. I took a lot of damage. The enemies on that screen can be a little bit annoying sometimes.
Oh yeah, you can really see us showing off the super armor from Pegasus boots, but it can be very dangerous because their lances do, I think, half a heart or three.
A full
three
heart.
fills. Oh, a full heart, excuse me. And here's our first Dark Nut fight, which is going to be epic, where we abuse the Pegasus boots to dive behind him. He can do one of two things. He can just simply slash, or he can do a rush. And the rush is usually what you want because you'll be able to just jump right over him and take him out in one go. You also pick up only one shoe. Yeah, that's why he can't really do anything else other than run. He's got to focus. Like, you see how fast one shoe goes, imagine two shoes, you just can't control it.
Well, that's what they used before the Eslo cutscene.
So here's where we're going to grab the water that we need later on. Because you can grab it while the lily pad is moving so that you're in a constant state of motion. So that was pretty good. Those guys can just separate and just make your life miserable, so it's really good if you're able to kill a bunch of them when they're all grouped up at the very start. So now we got the bow and arrows, and so Joel here is going to be able to do the manipulation here. So we got 1, 2, heck yeah, perfect. So now we got, yeah, that's all the kinstones that we need for the skip that we're going to do later.
Yeah, the manipulation works as in, as I said earlier, after save and quit, or just after soft reset rather, the RNG resets. And by just starting the file, slashing the sword twice, we already get a nice value for one of the kinstones, and then we time releasing a spin attack for the other kinstone. Even though RNG changes quite a lot on the screen, the manipulation itself is quite easy.
Terrible, they mentioned Gleerock on the walls. I think, I mean, it's not my fault that was like a really cool thing that we just found out here today, live on ZeldaSpeedRuns Marathon.
I took a lot of damage to that snake.
Wait, what? What did I just miss?
What's a snake?
You missed the Gleerock on the walls.
The Gleerock's on the walls.
First time ever.
It really is really heartwarming that there's always at least one person who has not noticed that before every time it's mentioned. It's really nice. Yeah, I don't know what a snake is in this game. Pretty sure that's a rope.
So this game doesn't really like giving you a lot of heart drops, so I'm a little bit scared because I'm low on hearts, and before I enter the next dungeon there's one more screen where I need to defeat a lot of enemies, and it can be a little bit scary sometimes.
Did you want a death abuse, or you gonna go for it?
I'm just gonna go for it.
Heck yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Send your energy to ToadsWoot, he's gonna go for it.
And I already got trolled by Lever.
And so here is also one of the big abuses of the invincibility during rolls, where we just activate the Armos and then just roll through them like it's nobody's business. You can't do that if he's not active, though, so rolling through somebody is only when they're alive.
Take notes. And no heart drops.
The chat is spliced. Ah, I knew it. That explains Quo's comments before it even happens.
I'm actually very nervous about my health. I hope I'm not gonna die
Did you
here.
want to push the boulder just in case?
Too late now.
Oh, excuse me. You just hit the lever for me. Let me refresh the commentary thing.
It's almost possible to skip this stadia here, but the game doesn't like you, so...
Yeah.
There's so many potential
Alright,
skips in this game, but they simply don't work out. It's only when a new task is made that new skips are found.
I'm sorry.
So I better hurry up with the next one so we can find a new skip.
I'm trying.
Ooh, that was a really good room.
Yeah, I entered the dungeon without dying, so all good. If I die in this dungeon, it's not the biggest deal. It's pretty quick to go around in this dungeon.
Oh, that's cool. It's a bit tight to get to roll through the sparks, or the wisp, or the anti-fairy, or the electric boogaloo. Huh.
Oops. So this Armos I don't actually completely kill, I just slash it once so that it goes out of my way. So let me pull the lever. I am going to get 2 heartstones instead of 1. Usually I would get 1 heart here in an actual run, but I don't feel all too safe.
Nothing wrong with a little bit of safety in a marathon.
And that's exactly why. The Stealthos can sometimes be a troll and not attack you quickly, so you just roll into him.
And the boots actually cancel the bow animation.
Oh, it's such a cool feature. You get to see
You
it
can
really
pass
showing
rapid
off.
fire, which is
Yeah, you
nice.
get-
It's kind of funny too, because there is an upgrade in the game that lets you shoot arrows faster, but if you just use the boots to cancel the animation, it's even faster, so...
Yeah, he just did it with those 2 switches right there, which is really cool.
Alright, so just about to get the mole mitts, and after the mole mitts I'm gonna save and quit, and hopefully use it to set up another little clip. If I don't get it the first time, I am going to soft reset once because I would really like to show this off.
Do it. Do it. Alright, so we got the digging gloves.
Come on.
The mayor mitts. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
That took a while, but it's all good. I just wanted to show that clip.
Here's one of the more recent skips in the game. There are some objects in the game that when they stop moving they become an object. Which means they can push a link. And clip through the walls. But that's the only place you can use it for.
So we also
Same
did a
time.
Bosky skip there, or I.
Ooh, that
It's
was
a little
really...
bit difficult to explain.
Basically, you're having the bomb explode you while you're in midair so that you stay in midair.
Basically. So by using a glitch called portal items, which lets us use items on a Minish portal, we use the moments on a portal once, which pushes us back a little bit. And if we then jump off of the portal by pressing up, we jump into the wall a tiny bit. And we can use a wall-timed bomb explosion with the jump to jump on the wall and then get pushed onto the wall by the bomb, which is basically how it works. I do have to jump down the door frame before I enter this boss fight though, else I cannot actually interact with Mazal's hands.
Yeah, it's on a different layer. So you just walk around and you can't actually get hit or do anything. It's really funny.
So that almost clip took a little bit, but I'm glad I still managed to get the manipulation. The manipulation is so that the Armos takes a specific path and stops right next to the block. Usually he cannot be in front of that block because there are specific tiles that the Armos cannot stop on. But with the RNG manipulation, it's still possible. It might not make too much sense, but if you... It has something to do with the Armos timer. If you are in a specific position right as the timer expires, he can still stop on those tiles he's not supposed to stop on.
Alright, now we're gonna get the ocarina.
Ocarina is the most broken item in the game, basically. There's actually already an Ocarina glitch upcoming, and this game kind of has a history of the first Ocarina glitch always being a little bit different than all the others in the run, so it's gonna be a little bit difficult to explain this one. Basically, usually you activate the Ocarina glitch by walking into a staircase and then playing the Ocarina one frame later, which stops the Ocarina playing cutscene. For this trick, however, we're gonna use an NPC to clip a door open, first of all, and then we open the loading zone from the door. So let's hope so I don't mess it up too much. It has an RNG manipulation as well, which is why I have to save and quit first. Alright, so, and the Ocarina glitch allows us to enter the house there without actually speaking to the librarian once and getting one book. For some reason the loading zone is still there. Usually when something is closed off, the loading zone isn't even there. But for this house, it's an exception, luckily. And I didn't have to soft reset a second time, so all good.
Remember, Mike, see the rule. You can roll through people if they're alive. Yeah, so we're doing all this to get the bracelets, and we also need to fuse with all of the Tingle Brothers to get the magic boomerang.
Yeah, doing this glitch already skips one of the books. And another trick we're gonna do later, usually you need 3 books for the flippers, but we're also gonna be skipping the flippers, so we're not gonna be getting any books.
Why are you getting this item then? What is this useless item you're getting?
It's just for one room in the game. The power bracelets are only used in Palace of Winds at the moment. And you can actually skip that room in Palace of Winds. The problem is you do need to activate the Ocarina glitch off of a cutscene, which is really dumb.
Also, we're
Yeah, it's
purposely
difficult.
taking damage here because we need to kill ourselves later for a glitch that we're going to do. Because to do the same thing as we did with the lady to get the ocarina glitch off of that door, we're going to do an alternate way to do that since there is no lady that we can do that with. So we're going to death abuse there to do it.
So cutscene ocarina glitch, if you're interested, we might actually see later in the run if I'm lucky. There's one other place where I can do it. It's a one-frame trick. You have to play the ocarina at the same time a cutscene starts. But the thing is, if the cutscene starts, the cutscene is gone, right? So if I miss it, I cannot get it anymore. For a bracelet skip, missing it once loses 1.5 minutes, and it also saves 1.5 minutes. So if you miss it once, you're still even. But if you mess up twice already, which is very, very likely, you're gonna lose 1.5 minutes already, which is why no one currently does it in runs. Also, the ocarina glitch allows you to do a bunch of different things. What we saw there with the cafe, it only allowed us to walk through the door, which is probably programmed as an NPC because the door also has text, which is probably why it lets us walk through it. There are going to be some other uses for the ocarina glitch later on. We will also be walking through some NPCs, but the main usage is that it allows us to go downstairs without lowering Link's height value, and you will see what that means in the next dungeon. So right now I'm just getting the fusions done for the magical boomerang, which is a lot faster than getting the flippers by, once again, 1.5 minutes. Everything is 1.5 minutes, it seems.
Coincidentally, oh no, that's actually a bad joke. I was gonna do a Minish joke.
Something you might be wondering about is, if we don't get the flippers, how are we going to enter the next dungeon? Because you have to swim to the entrance. Well, once again, the ocarina glitch saves the day. As I said, Link's height value cannot be lowered, and that also goes for everything that is on the ground. If I'm on air, just walking on normal floor, I mean, and then activate the ocarina glitch, even if I touch water, the game doesn't register that I'm actually touching water. It doesn't update, it still thinks I'm walking on floor, which is why we can just use it to walk towards the entrance of the next dungeon. It's going to be a little bit more complicated because activating the ocarina glitch is a little bit difficult, but there is a pretty cool setup which lets us at least glitch open the door. We'll see once I get the boomerang.
It's pretty interesting that you need the boomerang for this glitch, as the boomerang is otherwise quite a useless item.
Oops.
But they can use this to do some glitchy business, which is nice.
Yeah, you can do it with a few items. Like the lantern does the same thing, but since the lantern is in the next dungeon, this is the best way we have to do it.
Don't use the ocarina.
I almost went to Lake Hylia without getting the magical boomerang. That would have been an interesting mistake.
It's activated. What more do you need?
So here I'm gonna enter this house and do a little safety save. I'm gonna use the bomb and the boots at the same time, roll once and then use the bow to glitch a door open, which then lets us get the ocarina glitch off of the loading zone.
Because remember, when Link opens a door, it default makes you walk in, like you just can't avoid it. So we're trying to interrupt that, so where the door stays open and we don't have to automatically walk in.
The cafe ocarina glitch and this one are usually things that new runners have a lot of trouble with. Because if you accidentally go into the house, which can very well happen, you have to soft reset again and it loses quite some time. Luckily I got both of these, you could say, first try. So, no big deal.
Yeah, because if you lose the fairy, you have to reset. But if you forget the safety save, that you're going to be gone. You're going to be quite a bit back.
So Temple of Droplets has quite a few out-of-bounds things. First of all, I'm gonna get the Ocarina glitch to get the boss key without wasting a small key. And I'm gonna walk upstairs here to higher Link's height value, which lets me walk over everything that is below me. And since walking down the stairs again doesn't put me on the lower layer, I can just walk over everything that is below me. That's what the Ocarina glitch is used for a lot. The boss key ice puzzle is very difficult, by the way, because ice physics are not very cool in this game.
As in all games.
Yeah, probably. So the next trick is going to be a little bit hard to see, and it's probably gonna happen a little bit fast. What's going to happen is I'm going to get the Ocarina glitch first of all, and then I'm going to do a new trick called boss door clipping. Now boss door clipping allows me to open a boss door and then clip past the loading zone without loading the room on the other side. But I will be in the room on the other side without anything loaded, which lets me walk to rooms that, of course, I'm usually not supposed to go to yet at that point. Once I do the glitch, you can look at the bottom right corner and you might see me use the cane against the wall a little bit, which is to set up a certain subpixel. We actually need to clip into the wall by 1 pixel, else we won't be able to clip up another wall, which you will see in a second.
And all this we have to explain as much as we can beforehand because it happens within like 5 seconds.
Exactly. It happens very quickly.
And this is what might be possible to skip the flippers as well as skipping bracelets in a hard run. Shout out to Toads.
So without the Ocarina glitch, we would actually not be able to clip up the wall there.
Nice.
If we use the Ocarina glitch, for some reason if you pause, it puts you back up the wall, and because we clipped into the wall by 1 frame, we're just high enough to actually get onto the wall there. It's just barely possible. Shoutouts to Yadra, by the way. Because she found out that it's actually possible to get up there.
Ah, good, you got the kinstone. Perfect. That's what we need.
Yeah, finally another kinstone. So this trick skips the complete left side, where most of the water is. Or all of the water? All of it. Almost. There's some water on the right side too, but we also skip the right side of this dungeon, so... all we really do in this dungeon is get the boss key, get a small key, defeat the mini-boss, and then go straight to the boss. We skip quite a lot of this dungeon. Boss art clipping is used twice in a run. Later on you will actually see a little bit better what it means to be in the unloaded room and then going into the other room. You will just see better what it looks like if you go right, because this one I was very far high up, so it might not be super obvious at first, but the next one is going to be a bit more clear. So here's a boss you've probably already seen before in the first dungeon, but this time this guy is electrified, so a lot more difficult. You cannot use the Guster on him when he's electrified, so it's a little bit more annoying to do this fight. And generally, the fight mostly goes the same every time. Sometimes he jumps a little bit too often and messes up things. But generally, he's not very difficult. Also, on the last phase here, unlike with the first boss in the first dungeon, you actually want the 5 jump and not the charge, because it makes timing very easily. Since I'm gonna get it, you're gonna see what I mean. Okay, I was right.
And then the worst item in the game, that's a reward.
Worst.
Yeah.
Worst.
The map sucks, man. It sucks.
It's got like
It's
the
a
most
lantern.
It's got the most legendary strategy made by the most legendary runners.
Talking about the wizard fight.
So
I am talking about the wizard fight.
that was all to get the lantern, and we only really need the lantern to defeat Octo. There's no other, which is the boss of this dungeon, spoilers. There's no other way to defeat that guy, unfortunately, else we could skip this item. We could, Blue, we could. So yeah, the lantern actually only has one use, or one real use in the run. In the very last fight, you use it a second time, but that fight is also possible without the lantern. So I'm gonna use the Ocarina glitch again to just skip the whole right side of the dungeon. You'll just see some interesting pixels here and there. And I'm just gonna walk through, or rather over everything.
Yeah, the dungeon layout's pretty unique in that you can't actually just go straight up there, otherwise you go through like some loading zone to go to a completely different part, so you have to like go around, even though it doesn't make much sense.
It's a little bit lucky how the layout of this dungeon just works out for speedrunning. If the boss door wasn't right at the beginning, we probably wouldn't be able to just easily skip the flippers like that. But for some reason, the very first room in this dungeon just has the boss door already. And you get the boss door super quickly too. It's like in the first 5% of the dungeon.
I like to say easily skip the flippers, as flipper skip has been one of the big secret breaks they found since the start of running
That's
the
true.
game.
It's easy now, but it took us
Yeah.
a long time to find flipper skill.
I gave up many times
And
before
all
it
the
was
part, and every single individual part of it went through multiple changes. Like the like that fairy, we used to use Eslo buffering and subpixels. It was crazy. And then Yacht
Sweet.
found the setup.
We finally have the worst boss in the game, possibly. Say hello to Big Octo. The first 2 cycles are always going to be the same, so no big deal there. On the first cycle, he just shoots 3 rocks at you. On the second cycle, he will first do his sucking attack, shoot 1 rock at you, and then use the sucking attack again, then shoot 2 rocks. And on the last phase, he can do different things. And he can use his ink attack if he wants to, which wastes 20 seconds and you cannot do anything about it. He can also just shoot 3 rocks at you immediately, which is exactly what you would want because it's very fast. Or he can do a charge. After a charge, he will do one of the other again. Either he will charge again, he will shoot 3 rocks, or he will use his ink attack. And this boss usually loses runners quite some time because he really likes using his ink attack. So let's see what's gonna happen to me. Oh, well, you're not gonna like this.
Well, he just lit him on fire for me, so...
So unfortunately, we're not gonna get to see the ink attack. I usually like it when it's shown in marathons, just so that people can see what it's like to just stand there and literally do nothing for 20 seconds. Because that's what it's like.
Zeroing, boys.
But of course, zeroing is the fastest, so I'm not gonna complain too much.
Yeah, marathon luck, unreal.
Guys, can I get in with a quick donation?
Absolutely.
Sure.
So I have no comment on this donation, but I still think it's important. iTelevision donated $30, and it's important because, first, thank you for $30. We just passed $400. It's important because he sniped a donation incentive with this, and it was their ferry hover for Gymnast 86. So he's forced to do ferry hovers for the Wind Waker HD now.
Have fun, gymnasts.
Have fun, Gymnast. Yeah, that's it.
By the way, Toads, you're only 15 seconds behind your record. No pressure.
Jesus, really? With zeroing though? That's not too great.
And
So this
so
is
just
your
think if you had
recompense,
gotten the Armos thing a bit earlier.
Yeah. That's still not a bad time though.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's just 15 seconds behind world record. Whatever. I mean, it's alright.
It doesn't matter too much to be not too far behind my PB at this
Yeah.
point, because in the next dungeon,
Did you get
there's
it?
one... Yeah, I got it in my last 3 PBs.
Oh, okay. No
Yeah.
big deal. All right, you can do it.
In the next dungeon, there's one specific trick which I will go for, and also probably gonna mention then. But there's one trick that can save up to like 30 to 35 seconds, but it requires cutscene ocarina glitch. As I mentioned before, it's a 1-frame trick, you only get one chance at it. So if you miss it, you're just gonna lose that time. The good thing about it is you can just attempt it without really losing much time, because it doesn't matter if you miss it, you can still continue the dungeon normally. But it's usually very, I don't know, annoying to run against one of your PBs that got the glitch, because you're most likely
so
not
hard.
gonna save time in that split. Instead,
so
you're
hard
gonna
to
lose
compare.
like 30 seconds.
It's really hard to compare your like golds and your PBs.
Yeah.
You're just like, did I get it? I don't remember. So, are you going to do the Wii U thing or no? The home menu buffering.
Oh no.
Okay.
So after getting this sword upgrade here, we are usually supposed to go to the graveyard first and then go tops. But by using the ocarina glitch, we can walk through the NPCs that block the staircases, and this is also why we do one of the red Kingston fusions earlier, because it activates the Skywarp here. Now usually this is supposed to let you save the old man from his nightmare or whatever. But speedrunners, of course, use it differently, and we just clip past all the NPCs, which lets us enter the 4th dungeon very quickly.
Look at that disgruntled woman as you just walk through. Look, she is angry right now. She's like, this dude just walked through. But if they're alive, you can walk through them.
And this block here in the start of the dungeon, if you could somehow clip through it, you can get the Rock's Cape early.
Yeah, in the first room here, or the second room rather, there's this block I have to push, and if there was some way to clip through it, we wouldn't have to get the third sword upgrade at this time, and we could get the Rock's Cape early, which wouldn't really help all that much,
Yeah.
but it would still be cool.
As you can't beat the dungeon, as you need to push another block later on.
Also, us being able to have the, also us grabbing the boomerang makes this room a lot easier, a lot faster, which is nice. It's from the stunning to being able to control it so you don't have to position yourself. And since it's moving while, you can still do actions while it's moving. You don't have to like, you know, open up your bow. You can start charging your sword while your boomerang is in motion. So it's really nice. Oh, the fire was right there too.
Oh, thank goodness, okay.
Oh, you paused with the sword on top of the switch. Yeah, if you pause while your sword is still on top of that that switch there, it'll actually put the input again when you unpause the game.
So the Wrist-Rope fight you just saw is one of the most technical dungeons in the game. It's quite difficult to do it perfectly. I'm glad I got it, because in my last 2 runs I actually missed it, and I was really scared of missing it because it looks so cool and I really wanted to show it in the marathon run.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy I got a good fight there.
It's really difficult.
Some people use the lantern for it, which is not slower. I personally don't like how the lantern works because the hitbox is kind of awkward.
It is.
So I still use bombs instead of the lantern. The lantern for some people again might make it a little bit easier. For me, I prefer bombs.
The reason we use the lantern is because the lantern will actually instant kill any Wizrobe that it touches. So you just walk to the Wizrobe and they explode.
This run is actually not too bad so far. And now that I've said that...
Georg is just like, hey babe, welcome home.
So upcoming is the only room in the game where we still need the power bracelets for. and all we have to do is push some good pots.
It's also got a unique little, like, I don't know if it's glitch, oversight, whatever, that if you slide against, if you're like rubbing against a wall, you can actually push the pots a bit early.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know why that happens.
Which it is actually a little teeny bit faster because it lets you position a little better. So you just push against the wall and you can push it from like 8 feet away.
I was actually debating about going for the Bryce skip in this run, but I opted not to. Because I would have, of course, used save states from the Wii U, but in the end, I felt like it wasn't really necessary to do that. It doesn't look all that cool. It's just another skip that you might have to reset a billion times for.
Bamboo, you can't push them, but you can skip the room with some crazy stuff. But it's really hard for RTA to do. But yeah, Toads, you're actually ahead of the record right now.
I'm glad that we bring that up. You know how your nerves were you know how your nerves were fine earlier? All right, well, we have a fix for that.
I don't really care too much, honestly.
So at
I
this
need to do my
point,
job as a troll commentator.
it's kind of to be expected that Toad gets world record, because anything else wouldn't be like.
That's true.
I mean,
that's true.
no.
Only the best for the
I mean,
ZSR.
yeah,
Like, imagine
that's like-
Upcoming is the Casino Karina glitch, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
probably gonna lose quite some time here.
There we go, boys.
I'll donate another $100 if you get the record.
For me, you're still jumping across platforms, you know.
Ah,
Well, since he said "aw," and the last time he went "aw," he had gotten a 0 link, so I'm going to assume that he
No.
nailed it.
so I didn't get it. I equipped the boots and Ocarina there in case, or rather not in case, but I pause buffer up to a specific frame. You can see like a little slash
Oh,
thing when the enemy dies, and I pause to a specific frame and then unpause and time playing the Ocarina with the menu coming down again. Unfortunately, this time I didn't get it. I got it in my last 3 PBs, which is usually not supposed to happen, because this trick is very, very inconsistent and very dumb. So I'm not really sad that I missed it. I didn't expect to get it.
Have the Reddit thread ready for world record.
Come on, dude.
That's pretty good. It's like
So the Ocarina glitch would have skipped the Moblin fight you just saw, because it would just allow us to walk over all this air here.
It's also a really cool fight if you can set it up right, because you can try to bait them into those bombs that he placed ahead of time. And it's really cool if you were able to get it all that. And this is an interesting glitch where if you push the block, they just go clean through it.
So we
I
have the
don't know.
second boss we're clipping here. This time you can probably see a little bit better what's actually happening. I was in the next room, walked right to enter the room that is on the right side from there. I probably should have gotten a heart, by the way. But yeah, this boss we're clipping right here saves 3.5 minutes for RTA. And the complete second half of this dungeon, so very, very nice. Because the second half of this dungeon is very difficult to execute well. It's a lot of enemy RNG nonsense and stuff like that.
It was
So,
actually
I'm-
it was actually the discovery of that boss door skip that actually went into getting flipperless.
Yeah, that was one of the first skips after a very long time of no new skips. It was like the Minish Cap route has changed quite a lot in the last like 1.5 years. But before that, it used to be the same for, I don't know, forever. Ever since people started speedrunning it.
Heck yeah.
So it was a really nice discovery to finally have something new and cool. I really do not want to die here. Dying here would be really bad.
Yeah, because he would actually have to go through the entire dungeon again since he did, since the boss door is open. He did clone this!
As you can see, you can also hit the eyes with just one link if they are aligned properly, which is a little bit faster than splitting links. But for all formations, it doesn't really matter, the way you split the links doesn't really matter. All formations can hit all the eye patterns, so you just do whatever is best. I'm glad I didn't die, because that would have lost 10 minutes.
Don't joke, XD. He's got the Reddit post open, ready to edit. LMAO. So this is the what I mentioned earlier, where we grab this heart container regardless, usually because of the health refill.
Yeah, the health refill is really nice here.
Because you immediately go to the final dungeon, so...
So the final dungeon of this game is definitely the most difficult one. Not only is the dungeon quite difficult to execute well, but the end boss is one of the biggest trolls in any game, honestly. You can lose so much time to the end boss. Endgame in this game is generally really, really difficult.
Like that. We already took 3/4 heart of damage. You'd be at half a heart right now or something like that. So here we now create the 4-sword. This is where its origin is. We're seeing history in the making.
And with the 4-sword we can do these spin attack things. These circle attacks, I don't know.
Circle attacks, I love them. It's my favorite.
Whoever called them circle attacks before?
It's like, alright guys, so remember the strat is to use the circle attack, then the spin attack.
The good old circle attack.
Let's see, the 4-sword, if I remember right, the 4-sword does 4 damage, and I think in Ocarina of Time the Master Sword does 2 damage. So that would make the 4-sword stronger. Watch that be wrong.
So they're just gonna show us the intro a second time with one added screen at the very end, where you can see Zelda pray or whatever. It's a really important cutscene. She doesn't even pray, she just stands there. Once I gain control again and go into the next rooms, there are some NPCs I have to unfreeze because they were turned into stone. I'm going to be doing a cutscene skip there, but it's not going to be very obvious unless you've played this game before a lot. It's not really very apparent because basically what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna activate 2 cutscenes at the same time and just walk through the cutscene walk just everywhere while they are unfreezing. It'll make more sense once you see it. But usually when you unfreeze them and during the unfreezing animation you cannot move.
Yeah, so when one of the scenes ends, it allows you, it just says, okay, you can move again, the scene's over. So you're able to just keep abusing that in an order they don't intend.
Yeah, so usually you cannot move while they aren't freezing, but obviously I'm charging the sword, which I'm not supposed to do, so that I can unfreeze them faster and not have to wait for anything. It saves about 7 seconds, I believe it was.
7 seconds, that's almost the amount of swords that we have.
Okay. Oh no.
It really is funny that whenever they talk, you see all this Japanese text, and you just see Joel in giant green ink, like letters.
So here you were finally able to see me fail the Ocarina glitch for once. I've gotten them pretty consistently so far, but
That right there
this
is the
time,
reason. That
yeah.
that blue, I think they're called Jinx. The reason we equip the cape so early and we jump immediately is because he can sometimes just bolt to the left, and if you get hit by him, I think it's for like 15 seconds or something, you can't actually use
I believe
any
it's
of your
15
items.
seconds, yeah.
Yeah, you can't use any item, so even if he doesn't like bolt to the left like that, we still jump just so that we don't have that happen.
And going down the stairs while attempting Ocarina glitch is something that happens quite a lot.
Yeah, it's even worse.
It's annoying.
Even worse if you don't notice the you got hit by the Jinx, and so you try to do it, and then because it doesn't let the timer keep going when you're going down the stairs, so it's just even more time. So here he exits and re-enters the dungeon, so that's where he will spawn when he saves and quits, which is going to be very important several times.
I cannot believe I got the cannonball strat, by the way. The cannonball strat you just saw, I messed up in my last like 50 runs or something. It's for some reason it used to be fairly easy, but at some point it got very difficult and now no one can do it anymore. I don't know why that is, but I failed it in all of my last PBs. So I'm really glad I actually got it this time. I was really surprised.
And so there he just charges his sword early so that he can make this cycle where the trap won't hit him.
Yeah, if you roll down once and then start charging the sword, no matter where the moblins are, they cannot hit you, which is really nice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So now the entire goal is to get 4 keys, small keys, so that we can access the boss key. So
Do I need a bomb? I don't
No.
think so. I'm just gonna get one anyway.
Kind of like using the 4 elements to get the 4 sword, and then you get the 4 keys to get the big key. So here we're going to use the staircase after we activate the Ocarina glitch to raise Link's height, and then we can use it to run across the ceilings and just go straight to this small key.
Yeah, you'll see it a second time because I also need to go to the right side.
Wisps, okay, not Jinxes.
I thought it was Jinx too. Failing Ocarina glitch a bit in this dungeon. But this is very normal. It's very difficult to get clean Ocarina glitches literally everywhere.
Get the 4 key. I'm gonna use that from now on. I'm sorry, that's gonna never die. That's gonna be the new on the walls joke for me now.
And you saw me enter the staircase by failing the Ocarina glitch. As I mentioned earlier, for the house Ocarina glitches, it's actually very bad to walk into the houses and failing it that way, because that means you will have to do another soft reset and set up or opening the doors again.
Yeah, it's
Walking
better to,
downstairs isn't as bad as failing it back then.
it's better to fail it early than to fail it late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing that Ocarina glitches allow us to do are some door jumps, which is exclusive to this dungeon. If you have the Ocarina glitch active, you can actually jump in doorways, and if you jump, it puts you inside the wall by a tiny bit, and when you enter the next room, you will still be in the wall, and you can jump out of it to skip some closed doors.
And also, if you were to undo the Ocarina glitch for whatever reason, you would be trapped here.
Yeah, so because the Ocarina glitch is active, I don't actually need the platform. Well, that's not true. I needed to go down again, but...
Yeah. Because like it checks what panel you're on when you do like a jump or a roll, so...
So I hope I can get the upcoming Dark Knight fight fairly well. So the the Dark Knight fight here, if you roll when you're in the middle of the carpet and slash your sword quickly, you can stun lock him and get 7 slashes quickly to kill him fairly quickly, so you don't have to deal with his attacks and avoiding them and stuff.
Yeah, his recoil just pushes him back into the wall, so...
This cutscene is where we found the ocarina glitch at the start of the cutscene.
Oh yeah, this was the cutscene.
It's actually a little bit faster for a task to use it here, but way too tight and way too little time save for use.
Yeah, there's no like queue either for this one. Another small thing that is usually forgotten is that you'll notice that he rolls whenever he enters a room, because you can't actually use your cape unless you roll first in a new room.
That's true, I forgot about that.
So even if it's like just out of nowhere that he rolls, it's so that he can actually jump. It's the same with those door jumps, he has to roll first.
So after the last key here, I save and quit again, which once again resets the RNG, and I'm gonna try to use this RNG reset to set up a Darknet manipulation. There is an upcoming Darknet fight where you fight 3 Darknets, and with the right RNG value, you can the first Darknet, the Black Darknet, charge at you, and you can jump over him, roll after him, and slash him 7 times, which makes for a very quickly and fairly easy fight. So I hope I'm gonna get it. It's not the most consistent of tricks. It's failed fairly often in runs, but it can save a good amount of time. So by entering the Keaton room you'll see in a second, with a specific RNG value, they will be walking in a specific pattern, and I have to time 2 sword slashes. Okay, I stopped talking because I'm actually doing the room, so...
Okay.
And I think this should work, though.
The manipulation is really complicated for some reason. And it's never the same.
So I did get the RNG manipulation to make the Black Darknet charge at me. I didn't get the best pattern you can get, which lets you get a really nice and clean Darknet fight later on,
Yeah,
or after the Black Darknet rather. But it was still a fine fight.
Oh, that was really good, yeah.
I'm just glad I managed to save the RNG manip. Yeah, I jumped because I thought he had some health left still.
Another fun fact is that there is actually a timer in the background for that fight, where if you take too long, you do get a game over. And Zelda wins.
Yeah. So now Vadi 1, I already got an extra cycle, so that's really nice. Vadi 1 can be really trolly. You have to hit the eyes and then, or the outer eyes and then the eye in the middle to make the next cycle trigger. Sometimes for some reason he will just, like this, what was this?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's
give you a second cycle for some reason.
It makes no sense. This fight is so confusing, because and also his teleport. He can just teleport for like 50 times for like no reason.
Incoming clone skip, right?
This fight is a real mess right now.
What? That happens so often, and I have no idea why. Where you can actually physically see the dark orbs getting inhaled, but he'll still just spawn them anyway, and it's so frustrating. Oh, grab the fairy.
Well, at least you can see a very bad Vadi 1 fight. Not everything in the run can go very well, so...
I'd say he wished there was ink, so I guess.
Yeah, something has to go wrong. This was worse than usual, but this can very well happen in an actual run as well. It's not uncommon. So Vadi 2 is usually the worst one. There is a consistent 3-cycle method now, which hopefully I'm going to get. I said it's consistent, so I have to get it. What you have to do is... Yeah, what you have to do is you first have to get the... or use the arrow to hit the 4 correct eyes. For the first phase, it's always the eyes in front of you. For the other one, it depends. It's RNG, and this is not
It's
too
random
great.
except for the last one that you had. It can't be the
Exactly.
previous one that you had, but it can be anyone after that. So you can usually use that to kind of narrow it down. It's like, okay, you got the one in the bottom right, so that means it can't be to the left of it since that was the last one.
And I'm already getting trolled pretty hard because he walked in a very bad... Oh goodness, I'm not gonna get this 3 cycle.
Which is very common to not get.
That's true. Jesus, this Vadi today is not giving me the best treatment. So I needed all 4 clones to hit him with, but luckily enough he...
I didn't hear the Toads. I didn't hear you.
Oh.
What is I need all 4 clones?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's a
Well,
clone.
it is
something.
actually necessary for a Vadi 3 cycle. You need to
Yeah.
do enough
okay,
damage on the
fair
second
enough.
phase.
The second
So,
phase, you have to do a spin thing.
oh goodness. Yeah, you need to do enough damage on the second phase to then finish him off on the third phase. I'm still gonna be doing what I'm supposed to do on the third phase, which is a spin attack and then 1 slash. This only works on the Japanese version because his health is glitched for some reason. If you do this or this much damage with the spin attack, for some reason it just, I don't know, it doesn't overflow, but you do enough damage and the health is just badly programmed in the Japanese version. That's why it works. And it was a really bad Body 2 fight as well, so... Most things going well, but as usual, the end boss really trolls you in these runs. This happens in most of my runs, that most of the things go well, and then right at the end I lose like a billion seconds. So there's 1 fight left, Vadi 3, which is interestingly enough the easiest one, because he cannot really give you very bad RNG. There is something he can do which you don't like too much, but it usually doesn't happen because there's a manipulation for it, which is basically just stand in front of him, which makes him use a specific attack which we want.
Yeah, as long as you stay close to him, you can force it, and then if as long as you nail it each time, he'll just continuously loop it. If you do miss it, you can get him back into the loop. But the ideal is you just don't mess it up. This guy has been well known for taking his time to put his arm into the ground.
Yeah, that was a little bit bad because I missed the arm when I tried to hit it with the cane. Can also happen every run, it's not too consistent. For the second one though, I stand on the portal so that the arm will spawn in a specific location and I just have to time using the cane. This is also where we technically need the lantern a second time.
Blow the lantern.
Because it's a little bit difficult to see in the darkness.
And you can't take damage on the Minish portal, which is nice. It's a really nice reprieve, because he does so much damage. Like, I think he can do 3 hearts from 1 hit. It's absolutely crazy.
Oh no. Okay.
So now I'm trying to get the manipulation.
So I got the manipulation, of course, it's not very difficult to get, but I missed the blue balls, which then makes him use the other attack he can do, which is very annoying.
Oh yeah, that was a good
Luckily
tip, right?
though, I got a good save, but what? Spoilers, I'm sorry, but
Incoming time, I guess.
what is this? Yeah, time incoming on the last phase after the 2 last
Are you
slashes,
sure
I'm
time's
sorry.
incoming, Toads? It doesn't sound like you're sure time's
I'm
incoming.
not sure either, dude. What
Incoming game
is
over.
happening here? I'm getting these backups though. Alright, and time. Those were good backups, but bad everything else. So that was a very bad Vadi overall.
All three,
Usually
all three
that
tries.
probably lost like 1.5 minutes, or maybe even more from compared to my PB.
Update your Reddit threads.
Rip the Reddit
Good job
threads.
anyway, Toads. Nice
Rip
run.
the Reddit threads. Good job anyways, you finished with a 1:48.22.
That was still an
That's
incredible
good
run
enough.
for like, yeah, that was an incredible run to the Dark Hyrule Castle. Like, you landed almost everything really well. You got to show off a lot of the skips. You first tried 90% of the ocarina glitches.
Yeah, I just lost like almost 2 minutes to Vadi, so
Yeah.
Also
it's something
remember,
that happens a lot.
also remember that you started off console boot, so
That's true. It also loses a few seconds.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I played the Minish
Very
cap
nice.
several times. I know how hard the Minish cap is, and now I feel
Yeah,
awful.
there's like no damage, like invincibility frames. Like you just if you get pinned
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
wall, you just ping pong off of the enemies. You can take a lot of damage really fast.
You can get comboed to death very easily.
Yeah, that's Minish
But
cap.
all went well, besides Vadi, which is just the normal Minish cap run you would expect, so everything is good.
So
And if you guys are interested in picking up the game or just trying to run it, we have a really good Discord server, a lot of resources, many different tutorial videos and guides. Zelda Speedrun has a lot of the tricks as well, if you want it in text form, so give it a try.
Definitely.
wait, that's not the correct. I believe I made a mistake. Okay, I have to check that. That's not the correct Discord for TMC.
Oh no.
So I heard you have a certain glitch exhibition planned, and incentive got
Yes,
met.
the-
So
Glitch exhibition was met, so should I roll the credits or should I just start?
since we are like relatively tight in the schedule, please start out.
Alright.
I will check why the Discord server is wrong.
So I'm gonna open the EMU for this though. First of all, I'm gonna start with the Japanese one. I hope you can see it fairly well. One sec, I'm gonna adjust it, then it should be fine. And I hope the audio is fine too. So let me know if it's too loud or anything. Okay, so first of all, in the speedrun you saw me just skip Mazal by doing this glitch and then go left, jump down, and go into the Mazal room. But if I just go there from here, he
There's
actually
no audio,
gets
by the way.
defeated immediately. Oh, really? Oh, 1 second. Oh, we probably don't need audio though. If I have audio, it's also going to be Discord audio. Is that a problem?
Why don't we have your blah blah blah? Why don't we have audio?
It's
He's
because
using
it's MU and I muted the desktop audio. I can just mute Discord for a bit if that's fine.
Sure, this is not too much that we need to be saying.
Or
anyway.
without audio, it doesn't matter too much.
I can actually mute Discord, and you can play it on your stream. That should be fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you'll be picking up the Discord conversation, then he'll mute it on his side.
Oh God.
Alright,
Okay.
let's hope this works.
Yeah, you can also just mute Discord either way.
Yeah, would probably be easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, would probably be easier.
Okay. I will be able to do it.
There's or if everything's fine. Alright. So just tell me when I can. There's
This should be
or
fine
if
now.
everything's fine.
This should be fine now.
Alright. Alright, so once again, in the speedrun you saw me just go left here after the skip, and then go into the Mazal room. But if I just go there from here, Mazal actually just explodes, and we defeated Mazal successfully. The problem is, the game soft logs, so we cannot actually do anything with this. Very unfortunate. Something else that's quite interesting is, as you can see, if I just enter from here, as usual, I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit. Everything opens normally, I cannot interact with anything. But if I enter the fight now from here, something interesting or different is going to happen. He doesn't actually explode, but instead, his hands don't load. And I have no idea why that happens. He can actually still damage you for some reason. The eyes still have hitboxes if he does those attacks. But if I repeat this a few more times, now I'm not exactly sure when this is gonna happen, so I'm gonna fast forward this. This might take like 2 to 3 tries. Alright, there we go. And now, for some reason, Link's sprite is messed up, and I got the invisible orange hand. Nice. I don't know how to make the orange hand appear, so I didn't expect to actually get it this time. So that's pretty cool. I don't know why this happens, but it does happen. So this time only the left hand is glitched, as well as Link's sprite. It doesn't do anything, and if I enter it again, Mazal once again soft locks forever. Alright, so next I want to... one second. Quickly, is this the file? No. Actually, this is fine. So, you saw portal items in the run for one skip, where we used the moments on a Minish portal. But there's some other stuff you can do. For example, if you use the bow, it gets a little bit wonky. And if you use the boots, whoops, you can moonwalk, which is also nice. But something else that I want to do is first by getting the Ocarina glitch, which I'm using Frame Advance for, of course. Makes it easier. If the Ocarina glitch is active and I jump on a portal like this, it will jump at an angle. Now, I'm not sure why this happens, but it just happens. And right now I can play the Ocarina again because I'm far away from the portal. Mic is very low, 1 second. Oops. I'll probably have to adjust desktop audio. Or not, okay. So, because I jumped at an angle like this, I'm far away enough, or far enough away from the portal, that if I press R, nothing happens. So, if I press R and an item at the same time while on the portal, I can actually use the item, and since I don't shrink when I press R, I can change my direction by using the sword and use the gust jar to move around. Now, at first glance this might not seem all that interesting, but there's actually some stuff you can do with this. For example, you could, or if I buffer a rockscape jump, I can, for example, jump up here if I wanted to. Still not that great. What's more interesting is on the right side. It takes a little bit to travel like this, of course, but it's all good. So if I jump into this tornado while I'm like this, Ezreal isn't all that happy about it. And this is kind of a soft lock. You can actually die when doing this, so if you die you gain back control again, but Ezreal doesn't like what I'm doing right here. And what I really wanted to show off is actually furthermore to the right. Now, to the right there's like Hylia, right? There's the loading zone. But if I jump to the right now, I just jump over the loading zone, and I'm actually on the right side here now. If you look at the map, I am actually in Lake Hylia right now, which you saw in the run as well, just in different rooms. The difference here and in the run is, on this screen you can see right now there are white loading zones loaded at the very top and on the right side, and those are different because they will always stay. So if I go to the right, the white loading zone of this area will be chosen, which is like Hylia. So for example, if I go up, it will correct me, spawn me in Vale Falls, where I'm supposed to be, according to the white loading zone. And if I go to the very right, might take a bit, I'm in Lake Hylia, and if I press up, I can actually go to this screen. Now, you probably don't really know what's going on right here, I don't either. you can actually get to this screen only by using a cave in Lake Hylia. But for some reason they also left this little path open here in between the trees. I'm not sure why, but that's what they did. And you can actually walk up here again to walk through the trees here up to where a vine is supposed to be if you do the fusion. But of course, since I'm behind everything, I don't actually need the fusion. I can just go up the vine and get the heart piece very easily. I'm not sure why this happens. If I actually go down again, I soft lock because I will spawn inside the tree because there's no vine. This is also the only room in the game, or the only screen in the game I should say, where they have a ledge that lets you jump over another loading zone. I have no idea why they kept it there, probably because you're not supposed to get there ever. And if I do this and go a little bit to the right and then down at some point, I will once again correctly spawn where I'm supposed to be, somewhere in Lake Hylia, if I just go down enough. It scrolls all the way down until I'm finally where the heart piece is. Another one. Alright, so something else, I set this up already. I got Ocarina Glitch from one of the houses here and then used moving on portals to get up here. So I want to jump over the loading zone that is above me right here. And if I go to the left, I will correctly spawn in Lon Lon Ranch, but I'm still out of bounds, as you can see. I'm gonna use the Ghost Star so that you can see where I actually am right now. I'm gonna line myself up with this tree stump here, and before I go down, I actually want the Picolite. So if I go down here, first of all, let me show the map. I'm actually supposed to be in Vale Falls right now. So if I go down, it should load Lon Lon Ranch, right? Well, let's see what happens. It does load whatever was below the current screen we're on, which is not Lon Lon Ranch, and if I start moving, something interesting happens. Now this is because the camera doesn't really know what to do, I guess. I'm supposed to be in Lon Lon Ranch right now, but obviously, or rather, I'm supposed to be on this screen you just saw right now, but I'm actually in Lon Lon Ranch. So the wrong area is loaded. This is an out of bounds area. This is usually what the out of bounds areas look like. And something interesting about out of bounds areas is that the collision is still loaded, by the way, like trees and stuff like that. And there's also grass here. Where was it? There it is. There's grass here. And in out of bounds areas, for some reason, you can pick up grass infinitely and it won't disappear, ever. You can get lots of drops and even bugs. And if I use the white Picolite with this, I can get a lot of kinstones. I wonder if I can get the glitch here too. If you pick an item up at the same time as you slash the sword, Link will slash the sword a lot of times. Usually I get it, maybe not this time. Probably not. But this is actually something that is used in a 100% speedrun, as you can tell a lot of kinstones very easily. In a 100% speedrun though, you can't really see what's going on, which is why I wanted to show it off like this. But yeah, let's continue this adventure. I can still go furthermore down. Once again, the correct area seems to be loaded, but once I move, it gets a little bit sad again, as some of the smiley faces might tell you. And if I go even further down, once again, it seems to be loaded correctly, but nope. And there's actually a hole on the left to me. And if I fall down this hole, I will correctly spawn on the correct map again. And you can see, since I'm actually very far up now, I'm on like still Lon Lon Ranch probably, or on the screen below that one, it will panel down quite a bit before actually finally spawning me in the correct location. Pretty good stuff. Alright, so one other thing I want to show on the Japanese version is, I'm gonna speed this up a bit because I need to go on a screen first. Okay, so if you have something inside a bottle like a fairy and you want to pour it out, while you pour out the fairy to use it, you cannot take damage. And similar to the Ocarina Glitch, can these guys go away? Similar to the Ocarina Glitch, if you interrupt this by reading a sign, you are still in the pouring out whatever's in the bottle state, which means that you can just walk around and not take any damage at all. Pretty nice. You can also walk this, but the loading zone isn't there, of course. Once you roll again, though, it's normal again. You can take damage. Alright, so one other jumping over loading zones thing is once again here, but this time you can see this area once again, but if I pause and unpause, it actually does load the correct pixels again. And Link is invisible, just ignore that. I'm still out of bounds. This is just a copy of Link that I actually am moving around. The original copy of Link is somewhere out of bounds where no one cares about him. And if I'm out of bounds and enter a Minish cave, something interesting happens. Now if I can find it... Alright. Just watch. The game doesn't like it. It's not very happy about this. So we have some Super Mario Bros. Pixels, some other stuff, some red rupees, and finally the correct area loaded. Although it only kind of loaded correctly because the enemies don't really work very well. I also cannot pick these up. And this is actually a soft lock because I'm out of bounds and I cannot interact with the loading zone there. Alright, so there's something else I want to show on the European version. 1 second. And yes, using VBA. Terribly sorry. So there's something that only that you can only do on the European version, which is in the figurine house. After you get a figurine and hold up left and then quickly talk to the figurine guy here. I'm not sure if that was quickly enough. Let's see. Yeah, you can actually walk around while selecting how many shells you want to give him. Now, interestingly, of course, since you can walk around, you can also trigger another text box. And then this happens. 198% that machine? Sure. You can also do this with ESO cutscenes, which look even better. 198% pected it of that Minish elder in the library. It gets really, really interesting. You can also use this to activate the Ocarina glitch, interestingly. If you use the Ocarina and then close the text box, Ocarina glitch activates. Just something on the side. It doesn't have any use, it's just a little bit interesting. So something else, there are two more things I want to show. Once again with jumping over loading zones, if I jump right over the loading zone right when I use the Guster a second time, this doesn't work. This might take a few tries. This isn't too easy. It's a little bit precise. I hope I can get it though. Oops. Alright, there we go. Sorry for cursor on screen, by the way. Now, if I do this, for some reason Link gets really excited and does a lot of interesting little animations. This goes on for a bit longer than a minute. You can also see the Octoroks also get messed up. As to why this happens, I have absolutely no idea. But Link goes through quite a lot of interesting animations. As you can see, even the Octoroks like it. They are out to get me. Even the rocks they shoot are different. I honestly, I cannot explain why this would ever happen. but it does. So this goes on for a little bit. I'm gonna fast forward a bit because the interesting sprites are at the beginning. But there's a lot of sprites. So the Octoroks are not very happy anymore, I think. And the Sky Warp isn't very happy anymore either. It's actually a Minish Elder now. I have no idea why this happens, but it's pretty interesting. Alright, so one last thing, which isn't much of, I don't know, it's probably still called a glitch, but something you might not have noticed when you played this game casually, if that when you switch items or go like from the Guster to the Can of Packy, there's one frame where both of the item names fuse, which I'm actually gonna use frame advance for, so there is not supposed to be any audio. But if I go right now, it actually just says K-Nov because it fuses the two names. But we can do some interesting things with this. For example, how about the Light Arrow Wind? Or do you like maybe the Magical Boomer? Or how about some Four Swords Oomerang? Wait, there's one specific one I wanted to get. There we go, the Remotes Bomb Rang. I like that one a lot. And you can do that with pretty much every item there is. Some don't give you interesting things, Light Arrows. You can also do this with menus on this side. So for example, you can have Grip Bring Us Shells, or how about some Power BR, or some Flippers Acelets. I like those. Some Wind Element Nt, or some Power Brack. Come on, game. Yeah, you can use this with pretty much anything. It also happens in the Japanese version. I don't know about the US version, it probably does as well. But you can get some pretty silly names. Or the Gust Jard. That one's good too. Alright. So that's all I wanted to show. I hope you liked it. Hope it was an interesting little adventure.
Yeah, as said in You're on the Run, there are a lot of glitches in the game that are not useful for speedrunning.
Actually insane. That was actually insane. So.
Glad you liked it.
Thanks a lot, Toads.
No problem. Thanks for meeting the incentive.
So, yeah, I will. The Discord now for a second. First, I will to oh yeah, we're kind of messed up right now audio-wise.
Sorry.
Okay, then let's do it like this.